Hey guys, welcome back to the First Methodist Shreveport podcast. We are here with Lan Seba, Executive Director of Mary's House of Louisiana. How are you, Lan?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good. Glad to
Good.
be here with you.
I'm glad too. This is an honor.
I'm excited. I've heard so many great things about Mary's House and what y'all do for, the women in our community. And so I'm very excited to hear everything that y'all are doing.
All right. Awesome.
So if we could start, how did God bring you to this place? Like, what is your God story of how God brought you to be executive director at Mary's House?
Well, it was unintended, but I grew up in Alexandria. I went to college in Dallas. I stayed there, met my husband. We had 3 kids, lived in Dallas for over 30 years. And then my mom was here in Shreveport and with my sister, and she was ill. So my sister was like, come help me. So we went. I had a job that I was traveling to East Texas. So I went, I can travel from Shreveport to East Texas. And I felt like that was God because I could keep the same job. So I came here. We both came here. Our kids are all grown. And so I kept working at my job. And in 2013, so that was 2006, in 2013, somebody said, wow, there's so many pregnant women and there's, this abortion center that has so many women getting abortions and we should do something. So I'm Catholic. I was born and raised Catholic. And I just went, what a great idea. I wasn't even thinking. But I thought, that's true. We should help them. So I went to the bishop, just, because of headship and just kind of go, don't go off on your own. God, show me what to do. And he went, yeah, you can investigate that. So I went all over Dallas. I went back to Dallas, went to pregnancy care centers there. I emailed people all around the country and asked their advice. Everybody said, you need to be right across the street from the abortion center. And I'm like, okay, great.
Wow.
That. And so I started looking at houses. Well, it was on Kings Highway and they're little bitty houses. The rent was astronomical. And, so, I'm meeting with the bishop and just going, oh, well, oh, well. And, this is how far we got. So for a year, I did that. And one day I was at a meeting and he said, Shumpert closed and somehow the diocese owned part of it and they ended up with this house. He said, I have a house that, would you want to use it? And I went, well, where is it? And he said, across the street from Shumpert Hospital. And I went, well, that's the wrong area. That's the wrong location, but I'll go look at it. Well, I walked in there. This house has beautiful wood floors. It's 4,300 square feet. I walked in the front door and went, we'll take it.
Absolutely.
And so that was in 2014. And so they just said the bishop was having a pro-life banquet every year. And he said, I think it was in the fall of 2014, he said, whatever we raise at this banquet, we'll give it to Mary's House to start. So they raised $80,000 that year.
Goodness.
They gave me the whole $80,000 and the house. And I went, I don't know how to decorate a house. And, God just brings people. We just repainted the house. There was hardly anything to do. Her husband died and he was a lawyer. She said, I'll give you all the furniture from his law office. And then we bought some antiques and stuff. And then we had a board and they went, you have to open. I'm like, I'm not ready. And we had trained some volunteers and they just went, you have to open. So on November 20th of 2015, we opened Mary's House with me as the director.
Wow. That is definitely a God story.
Yes, it is. It's been God the whole way. But it's fun to work with God because you go more than you ever thought you could.
And so Mary's House, like the house that you have now, is actually a house for women or what's the house for?
The house is actually Mary's House does early prenatal care, education, and guidance for pregnant women. No one lives there.
Okay.
The nuns who worked at Shumpert used to live there, but no one lives there now. And we have 6 paid staff, part-time staff, and we have 27 volunteers who come in every week to
Oh,
be
wow.
receptionists, scheduler, counselors, general volunteers, just doing things. Yeah. So it's been amazing. So last year, like the first year, we saw 150 women the whole year.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, we were open Friday and Saturday. Last year, we saw 800 women and did over 600 ultrasounds. So
Goodness.
we have a wonderful sonographer a nurse who does all the sonograms. She's awesome. Dr. Benny Popwell reads all, you have to have a doctor for a medical director. He reads
Mhm.
every sonogram and, make sure everything is fine. And the
Yeah.
good thing is the thing that makes us special is when there's a young woman and she's in an unplanned pregnancy,
Yeah.
she's afraid and
Mhm.
she's probably on Medicaid and it's really hard to get a doctor. So
Mm.
we have made relationships with all the 18 OBs in the area and St. Mary's Medical Center. And so we can, wherever the girl lives, we can call a doctor and help her get set up with her appointments for her prenatal care.
Wow.
So that's how we serve the women.
Mhm.
So after that, though, after a few years and we grow every year and I'm going, that's great. But, we just say, we see them at the beginning of their pregnancy and we go, bye, hope you have a great life. And so I just went, we got to do something else, something more.
Mm.
And so I went to a conference in Dallas for pregnancy care centers,
Mhm.
and I remember walking across this huge room, and they had commercials playing. And there was a commercial, and there was a girl in water, just like drowning, and then these arms pull her up, and it
Mm.
was an awesome commercial for Embrace Grace, which is a program for single and pregnant women. And
Wow.
it's Christian.
Mhm.
It has to be held at a church under the pastor has to approve it. They have all this paperwork the pastor has to approve, and then the women at the church put on the program. It's 12 weeks. They talk about, and it's plug and play. So they have
Yeah.
DVDs or streaming, and 1 week is about God loves you and has a plan for your life.
Mhm.
They talk about forgiveness, about resentment is like carrying around a ball and chain.
Yeah.
The guy that left you get rid of the resentment.
Mm.
God is carrying you. He will be with you your whole way. So it's 12 weeks of Christianity because the girls that I see, God is way out there, and if he sees them, he's mad at them. That's
Mm.
how
Like
they
that's their
think.
perspective.
Yeah, that's the girl's perspective, is God hates me because, I'm sorry, there's the 10 Commandments. It's ingrained in us what's right and
Mhm.
wrong. And so even if they haven't ever heard of God, they go, something is off. And
Yeah.
but the way to get to, tell them about God isn't going, you did it wrong. It's about
Mm.
loving them
Mhm.
and just letting God work in them. So that's what Embrace Grace does.
Yeah.
The hook for the girl to go to Embrace Grace, because the girl is thinking the church is the last place I want to go to.
Yes.
Well, the hook is that the church throws the girls a huge baby shower at the end of their pregnancy. So they're ready when their baby comes.
Yeah.
But along that 12-week journey, they're meeting with other girls who have the same, they're going through their pregnancy. They're meeting with women who love them and have a heart to help them, and
Mhm.
show them God's love. So anyway, I digress
No,
away
that's
from
all great.
Mary's house, but that's a wonderful thing that has happened.
Yeah.
Then the next thing that we're just starting now is those girls. Now we've had over 200 girls have gone through and 8 churches, one by one, a new one will come on.
Yeah.
200 girls have gone through that. So what do they do now? Because they're still single. Many of them are still single. Being a single mom is the quickest way to poverty. So, I had this awesome Embrace Grace leader, and she's like, we got to do more. And I'm like, you're right, but I can't do anymore. But we are starting right now. We have 4 girls who have gone through Embrace Grace, enrolled at BIPSI, fully enrolled and registered to start this semester. And we're starting Dave Ramsey's financial piece, the 7 baby steps at Mary's house, for 10 girls that went through Embrace Grace. So Embrace Grace is they showed up. They're interested in changing their lives. So let's see who's interested in going to college, who's interested in this. And the girls are like, yes, I want to change my life more. And all along the way is about God is with you.
Yeah.
God is with you. We're here with you. And you can do this. Because God always shows up. When you're moving, God shows up and does more than you ever thought.
Yeah. So it's like you have given them the freedom to dream. Because I'm sure whenever someone is single and pregnant, you feel like, no, you said there's a little bit of a self-imposed failure aspect, and you feel like you failed in some way, and then you feel like your life is over because now you're having to care for yourself and someone else. And so you kind of don't give yourself the freedom to see your future anymore. Your future is at least bleak. And so the fact that you're giving them that ability to look at their future with hope now, and that there is a future worth living for, is incredible.
And that's exactly right. We give them hope, and we all need hope. But, sometimes we aren't surrounded by hope, and sometimes the girls aren't. And so we're just trying, just some facts. There were over 5,000 births in Shreveport. I think it was in 2019. Over 52% of them were to single women. So there's a huge, that's just facts. And you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many young women that could be helped. And, we all know not everybody wants to do things our way, or they don't want to change, or it's scary to change. But there are some who do. And so let's just help them. But we'll help every pregnant woman getting early prenatal care. That's what Mary's House does. But our mission statement is early prenatal care, education, and guidance. So we've grown enough now that we can do some education beyond Embrace Grace.
Yeah.
So we'll see. This is a pilot program. We'll see if this works.
Well, it sounds like it's doing great.
Well, hopefully.
So can you walk us through like what it would be like for a woman who finds out they're pregnant, and maybe they look at, or I don't know if like people come to y'all after they have thought about abortion, or what is the most common process that you've seen from women that you've encountered?
Well, the most common process is they find out they're pregnant, and they just go online and go pregnant, and then what pops up. And Mary's House does pop up first.
Oh wow!
So then they come, and I've had a girl ring the doorbell or go, I'm on the front steps and I'm afraid. What do I do? And I go, just ring the doorbell, honey, and somebody will open the door, and then it'll be okay. Yeah. Because they're afraid. Maybe if they're a teenager, their parents are going to kill them, and they don't want to tell them. Or, they're just, most of the time I wasn't expecting this. I'm afraid. I don't want to. Or it's the wrong time. We do have some women that come in and just went, I need to know how far along I am because I want to get an abortion. Well, that's great, because at least they're coming to us and we can talk with them and let them talk about all the things that are going on in our heads. We're crazy when we keep everything in our heads.
Yes.
But when you can talk to somebody and get it and say it out loud, sometimes it sounds like that's not really what I want to do. So
Mm.
we have wonderful peer counselors
Mhm.
who just they've been trained in, there's only three things you can do: abortion, adoption, and be a mom. We
Mm.
present all those options to them with what they think for, like, an abortion. They just take a pill like an aspirin and it's gone. And, so
Mm.
we explain to them, this is what happens. We try to be um, very factual because everybody has free will. And, and if somebody's trying to talk you into something that's not, that's overstepping our
Yeah.
bounds. So we really try to just talk about, here are your options. We confirm that they're pregnant. Sometimes they're negative and they're like, they cry because, well, I thought I was pregnant and now I'm not. Or, I'm so glad I'm
Yeah.
not. But, but the thing is we just try to love them right where they
Mm.
are. And so we, confirm with a pregnancy test. They talk to a counselor, talk about all those things. And then if they're 7 or 8 weeks along, we'll do a ultrasound.
Mhm.
So if they're not that far along, we schedule them to come back. So all of that's for no cost
Yeah.
and then we call for a doctor when we
Hmm.
know how far along they are.
Good. And so I think that's the most impactful thing for someone who's going through that journey for the first time, especially coming from someone who, had insurance and it was a planned pregnancy. It was very intimidating for my wife and I having to go through that process of finding a doctor, going
Oh,
through those appointments. And so that is just such an amazing gift that you're able to give those women to, number one, give them the assurance that they're cared for, and then to put them in contact with a doctor that's going to be with them through the term of their pregnancy.
right. And then, we don't just say, well, good, you're in Embrace Christ, but we do have counselors that call them throughout
Mm.
and text them throughout their pregnancy. Then we have a nurse that calls after their pregnancy
Yeah.
and just finds out, and sometimes it's sad they've had miscarriages, but they're
Mm.
so glad that we call because we all want somebody to care about us. And it's not just, they can't believe that we'll reach out to them, and we do. But everybody at Mary's House, they really do care about these women and
Mm.
helping them. When I first started Mary's House, I was well, we were in the throes of abortion and it's terrible and all that. And and I read, Jesus said in John 10:10, I came that they might have life and have it to the full. So
Mm.
life was saving the baby. But when I read it once, I went, no, it's for the mom. For the mom too. I
Mm.
came that they might have life and have it to the full. So I kind of think of Mary's House as being a bridge to the community because we can't do it all, but churches can help with Embrace Grace,
Mhm.
doctors can help with with prenatal care, Bipsy can help with education. I mean, so there's all kinds of programs and groups, but it's overwhelming to just go, oh, just go find it out there. So
Yeah.
we just try to find the best options. And if a girl has a problem, we don't know, we go find out and then call her. And,
Mhm.
so I just think of us as a bridge to helping pregnant women in Shreveport and Bossier,
Yeah.
really, North Louisiana, because we get people from all over.
Mhm. So what's the furthest away someone's come to see y'all?
Texas, East Texas.
Oh,
I
wow.
think Canton was
Mm.
probably far. Somebody came all the way from Monroe, Oak Grove once. So we've had them come from far. But
Goodness.
generally, it's, like 60 miles around Shreveport.
Mhm. And do they mostly find y'all just through, like, web searches, or is the word of Mary's House, like, getting out?
Well, we have gone around to when I realized, oh, we need doctor's appointments. So twice a year, we go around to all the OB's
Mhm.
offices that, that we've made relationships with, and we bring them cookies and all, thank you for doing that. So, there's like 7 offices. So we bring them our cards and say, because when you call and try to make an appointment, the first question that they ask is, what kind of insurance do you have? And
Mm-hmm.
so the girl says Medicaid. And so we asked the receptionist, are you tired of saying we can't accept you? And telling her no. And she went, yeah, it's terrible because sometimes they hang up, just hang up. They just, it's just terrible to just go, no,
Mm-hmm.
we can't take you. But the doctors, they're not doing anything bad. It's their business. They have bills to pay and all that. So,
Yeah.
but they do take some Medicaid patients. So
Mm-hmm.
we give the receptionist, okay, here's our rack card. Instead of saying no, say, oh, call Mary's house. Here's the phone number.
Yeah.
And then that's how we get a lot of patients from the hospitals and the doctors sending them to us. And also, well, Google and Facebook, all that's
Mm-hmm.
a big one too.
Yeah. That's awesome. So the women who come to y'all who have Medicaid and you have networks with doctors, so are the doctors that you're sending them to people that you know are going to take Medicaid or?
Well, what I understand is that doctors are required by law or medical whatever to
Mm-hmm.
take a certain amount, and they call that their panel. So
Okay.
maybe say 14. I don't know. I'm making that up, but
Mm-hmm.
they only take a certain amount of Medicaid because Medicaid pays this much, and insurance, they get whatever they can pay their bills with regular
Mm-hmm.
insurance.
Yeah.
So they're in a conundrum, doctors. So so we'll call the doctors and they'll say, okay, we'll take this one.
Mm.
But St. Mary's Medical Center that opened 3 years ago, they came over right when they opened. Their community outreach person and said, how can we work with y'all? And so we
Mm.
came up with this party for patients that come to Mary's house, and I keep getting this, patients that go to Mary's house and deliver at St. Mary's.
Oh, wow.
And so we call it the About to Have Your Baby party. And
I
so
love it.
we get into, we keep track of which doctors the girls go to. And so if they
Mm-hmm.
go to St. Mary's, we text them. We have it 4 times a year, and we text them and say we're having the party. And they go. We all meet over there. St. Mary's provides the food. They provide 3 nurses to teach, because it's all about education about car
Mm.
seat safety,
Mm-hmm.
safe sleep, and how to feed your baby,
Yeah.
feeding your baby, because feeding your baby is a hard thing to figure out when they're hungry.
A small
So
baby can provide a lot of pressure for that
yes,
situation.
yes. So anyway, they do those things. We have, we give them little gifts at every, diapers and wipes and little gifts at
Mm.
every one of those centers. But then Mary's house staff gets to see the girls pregnant, big and pregnant instead of
Mm-hmm.
4 weeks pregnant.
Yeah.
And so that's fun for us to see them, and the moms love it. And then they can take a tour of the hospital. But a lot of our patients go to, because it's a hospital for, Medicaid
Yeah.
patients.
Well, that's
And
great.
they have the newest hospital. It's redone. It's beautiful. And they have wonderful stuff.
That is so
So
good.
do all the other hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's wonderful working with all these doctors and hospitals. So,
I'm sure.
yeah.
And so you said that you mentioned that you were helping them go to BIPSI, get enrolled in BIPSI and in Dave Ramsey's financial peace course. Is that after they've had the baby, or is that usually somewhere in between the ultrasound and delivery?
Well, no, it's going to be after they've had their baby.
Okay.
Usually what we see is it's hard enough to get them to embrace grace when they're pregnant. And then they have their baby, and the first year is wonderful having the sweet baby. And then the second year, it's like, this is really hard. And the girl starts thinking more of, God, I have to pay these bills, and what am I doing? And the babies aren't just sitting in a car seat or, sleeping all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
life just becomes real. This is getting harder.
Yeah.
So it's the uh, Embrace Grace leader, the one that just came to me and said, "What can we do?" So she has tons of passion. I'm not saying that every Embrace Grace does this, but this one did. And she had stayed in touch with the girls from her very first Embrace Grace. She'd done it 3 times. And so all 3 groups,
Wow.
they had a picnic in April, and they all got together. And so Marcy and I had already been talking. So she just said, would anybody be interested in taking this financial piece or in going to college? And she was overwhelmed with how many were interested. So as it comes out, some girls, only 4 could get enrolled, and their lives, because they have jobs, they're
Mm-hmm.
babysitting. I
Yeah.
mean, you have to get so many things lined up, but so we have 4, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many bumps that when you haven't been brought up where you can do anything, and you just need a little more umph, just keep on going, you can do it. When you haven't been taught that or grown up in that, and you've just been, here's how you get around it, or this is, it's too hard, I'm quitting, or you didn't have that encouragement. When one person sticks with you and will, no, you're not doing that, or you better
Mm.
show up, or okay, just let me know where, they'll disappear off the radar for 6 months, and then they'll call her back. And so she just has this gift from
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
So that's why this is coming about. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like God sending me volunteers to do peer counseling and to do sonograms. And I go, okay, he sent Marcy to do this BIPSI and financial piece. And then, we have somebody on the board on our board of directors, she works for a bank, and she's knowledgeable. And I was telling her, about financial peace, she goes, I'm going to shadow Marcy, and I'll teach the next class.
Mm.
And, it just it blows me away, because I never would have thought she would do that.
Yeah.
So it's amazing when you just move, God will just keep on showing you the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's a pilot program. It could all fall away, but who knows? It might be something new God wants to do.
Hopefully so. I mean, it sounds like it's impactful for these women's lives. So
Yeah.
definitely hope that it sticks around.
Me too.
And so, with these women who are going through all of this, are they going through it together? Like, is there a community of women who know other women within Mary's house in the process? Or is it usually for confidentiality kept separate?
Do you mean for like the financial piece and the school, or
I guess like
what?
starting out. So, like, is there like community between the women who find out that they're pregnant? Or they're like,
if they went to Embrace Grace, that's how they get together. Okay. So then, so those women, the goal is they form a bond, because we all need friends for out our whole life. So hopefully, it doesn't always work, but it does sometimes. And then, that's what's happened with. Marcy was talking about the girls that went on this picnic. They were talking about getting together, and Marcy goes, well, what are y'all doing? She said, well, last month we had game night, and so we're going to have game night again tonight. It's scheduled for tonight. So like 7 girls get together for game night on their own. They were complete strangers when it started. And so that's, to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, look what's happening. And that's what we want to try and do is, help them learn to have a community that could be for the rest of their lives, because I'm not going to be around the rest of their lives. None of us are, but teaching them how to have friends. And just, it's like us. We get, we go to church with people, we meet other young couples or old people or whatever, and you go, okay, I like them, let's stick together. And that they haven't had that. And so that's one of the things that's coming out of Embrace Grace.
Yeah. It's great just to have those people who are going through what you're going through.
Yes. Yes. Like,
Mm.
I can't sit down. I can't breathe. I mean, that's what's hysterical is that's what they find is,
Mhm.
but anyway. So it's, again, it's Mary's house. We're just trying to there's so much to be done, but it's where it starts is at Mary's house. And then
Yeah.
we just try to very slowly, let's expand and
Mhm.
let's see if the community can help with this. Because I'm not a big one for, let's check every box off and get it done.
Mm.
I'm like, let's go for the long term and
Yeah.
see what's going to last and last them for
Mhm.
their life and their child's life. Because the vision for Mary's house is to inspire and encourage mothers to create Christian families now
Mm.
and for future generations because I don't see that right now. And I go,
Yeah.
that's unattainable. That's one of those infinite goals. And good, let's see what
Yeah.
God does. So,
Absolutely. It's great to have that just one of those things that you feel like is never it's like chasing the horizon.
yes.
It's worth doing.
And it's always amazing to see what God does. Because
Mhm.
believe me, when I said, oh, yeah, we should help people, I had no idea it'd be this.
This is where you'd be later.
Yeah, no
Oh,
idea.
goodness. So what is the view like, do you have anything in mind as far as what the next steps for Mary's House are or anything that you're striving towards now?
Well, it's that education and financial
Mm.
piece, trying to get that go, not just to see if that's something that young women would want. I
Mhm.
think it's a great idea, but maybe they don't want it. And that's what you learn in marketing is you go, oh, I think you need this. And no, that, they don't want it. But it seems like they want it. And
Yeah.
so, the goal is in 3 years to have 50 girls enrolled at BIPSI and have 50 girls have gone through financial peace. I don't know. It's like we have Pizza Fridays. Let's find some other volunteers that would walk with the girls. I mean, it's not hard to enroll. BIPSI's very organized, what you
Mhm.
need to do and stuff. But the thing is, she runs into a bump and it's like overwhelming and I'm not going to do it. And so to
Mhm.
have somebody being that cheerleader going, here's what you do. Oh, we'll figure that out. Let's go do it. And so yeah. So we
Yeah.
just want to just keep making, eh, helping young single moms find a life that God has for them. Marriage, I think that would be wonderful, but I go, you got to deal with the men, and that's not my lane. So
Yeah.
he's doing that somewhere else, maybe. I just don't know
Mhm.
about it. But I think marriage is the best, and but I have the girls. Let's get them solid in their faith, and know and realize God does care about them, and He's not
Mhm.
mad, and He loves them, and um, you know.
Yeah, that seems like the best path forward
So
because it's not just that you're wanting them with putting their faith first. It's not that you're wanting them to just go and get married to anybody, but with the faith and showing them who the Bible calls us to be, it's also who is the man that you're supposed to look for
right,
in that as well. So it's not just that they're going to go out and get married to the guy who can make their life easy, but who is a man who is on the same path of following Christ that you are that is
yes,
going to lift you up.
exactly,
And so
exactly.
I think that's an
So
incredible thing.
we'll see. That's what I want. And you just do the best that you just go, okay, follow your inspiration and pray. I just pray a lot to go, God, what's your will? And
Hmm.
go on.
Yeah.
So,
I love what you said about having the girls have not a counselor, but someone who's a guide with them while they're going through school to handle the pushbacks whenever they feel like they want to quit.
yeah,
Because I feel like having that person who's able to speak truth to you that what you're going through, yeah, it's not comfortable, but you're going to make it. Like you need to keep going. Like, yeah,
yes.
it's not fun, but you need to keep going.
That's an excellent description.
Mm.
Yes. it's so important because, I'm a real determined person and I go, a bump. Oh, well, I'll figure that out. But
Hmm.
not everybody is like that.
Yeah, there are some people,
So,
like you said, who haven't had that encouragement in their life to tell them that they're able to overcome it. So when anything happens, like you said, they're looking for a way out, they're looking for a way around, or maybe this is just, it's not for me clearly because, they might have self-esteem, like I'm not good enough. And
yeah,
so having that person to just say, like, you can do it. It's not
right.
going to be easy, but you can
Right.
do it.
And that we're right here.
Hmm.
And those girls, the 4 girls that are enrolled, that's what Marcy has done for them, because one girl said, nobody ever told me I could do this.
Mm.
And she is a smart girl, but she has just had a really hard life. And she's like, nobody ever told me I could do this.
Mm.
They're afraid. They're like, I'm going to fail. And Marcy goes, no, you're not. You're going to keep on doing this. And,
Hmm.
but they're excited too. So
Yeah.
it's different, but it's amazing. I mean, I just go, wow, I never thought, you know, I'm, I just never thought this part of my life would be so exciting.
Yeah. And so how does I guess bringing it back to First Methodist, how does First Methodist Shreveport impact Mary's house?
Well, first, y'all give us a grant. So that's
All right.
amazing. That's wonderful because not every church gives us a grant.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just amazed at the help that y'all have done for this is the 3rd year. So
Mm.
I'm like, I don't know who on your staff or whatever knows about Mary's house, but thank you, whoever that is.
Mm-hmm.
And that just helps us do these kind of things. There aren't, like, we do everything for no cost to the girl, but it costs to keep Mary's house operating.
Yeah.
And so, and people always go, well, what are you doing? How much does it cost to send a girl to school? Well, nothing, because the government has grants for them. I mean, everything we do
Mm.
is somebody else has paid for that. But to have the staff and to run the building and all that, it costs money to do that. So keeping Mary's house operating is what keeps the bridge going for all these other things.
Mm-hmm.
And, people don't really want to pay for operating expenses, but that's how Mary's house works, because I find out, I mean, they just go, you are so tight in how you spend your money. But I'm like, there's so many free things to do or other people that will help you
Mm-hmm.
so we don't need to incur extra expenses when there's other people already doing this. But
Yeah.
we're in this lane for these single moms, and there's lots of places that we can help them get to
Mm-hmm.
because somebody else does it better than we can. We don't have to start a program
Yeah.
that costs more money, but we do have to keep operating Mary's house.
Mm-hmm. Kind of need electricity to make the sonograms or the
Yeah.
ultrasounds work.
Yes. Pay for that paper and the gel and and the sonographer's salary
Mm.
and things like that.
Well, that's great. I mean, I'm glad that we partnered with you. I'm
Well,
glad that.
I'm glad too.
And that was, so going back to the school a little bit, you said something that was really interesting, that the girls, there are grants for the girls to go to school.
Yes, the Pell Grants.
Okay.
So, we're encouraging them, no loans,
Mm-hmm.
because you can go to school, and we're saying take 6 hours. You're a single mom. Some of you have jobs. 6 hours. We want you to be successful, not
Mm-hmm.
take 12 hours and then fail. We
Yes.
want you to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one girl, and she's like, Miss Marcy, I want to take a full load. I want to take one. Marcy goes, if you take a full load, I'm not going to be there for you. And she's like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And, maybe next semester we'll see if you do really well. Then we'll let you, we'll encourage you to do more. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like, we do say we want you to be successful, and if you want to work with us, will you follow these rules? If you
Mm-hmm.
want to go your own way, great, I hope you'll be successful.
Yeah.
But we just we want them to line up for success and not
Mm-hmm.
take on too much.
Yeah. And so those girls that do choose to go their own way, should they ever come back, are they welcome back like at the
Oh,
same spot or
yes,
okay?
yes, totally fine. We,
Hmm.
hey, we all make
Yeah,
mistakes.
can
you
definitely
know,
raise my hand to that.
yes, yeah. So that, yeah, it's no punishment. It's just like, well, this time you just go on. But see, then if you have that person trying to do it and they're failing, it impacts the group that you have, and you're trying to
Mm,
encourage. Well, failure scared, they're already scared, so if they see somebody failing, they'll just go, oh, I can't do it either.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
that's what, it's not being mean, it's that we're trying to protect the other
Hmm.
girls.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it. They're already scared and they don't need to know that there could be a cliff over the next corner for me
Yes.
too.
Yes. And yeah,
Hmm.
so
Well, is there or how can we continue to partner with you, or how can our members at First Shreveport help in any way?
well, I would first like to invite y'all to come to our Fet for Life.
Okay.
It is in next February, but we will, because February comes right after Christmas. It's like February 6th. So we always start marketing before, like in October, November.
Okay.
So, like we always have a speaker. This year it's going to be Matt Burke, who was on the Super Bowl championship with the Baltimore Ravens. He's Catholic, but he's talking about, his talk is about God and,
Hmm.
prayer and all that. We have great food. It's an awesome event, and so I'd like to invite y'all to come to that. You can buy a sponsor table or individual tickets, and but it's fun. And last year we had 500. 2 years ago Lou Holtz came. Last
Oh
year
wow.
Leah Darrow. I mean, we've had Abby Johnson. We've had lots of good speakers.
Mm.
But like last year, over 500 people came. It's a big deal, and it's at Bossier Civic Center.
All right. In February?
So in February 6th.
February 6th.
Yes, it's
All
a
right.
Tuesday. So, and then, just if you like to volunteer, we do ask you come for a tour first. See
Mm.
if it's for you. You know, yeah. And just, you can just see. I'd love to, we do tours whenever. You just call and say, I'd like to come see Mary's house. No, we'll set that up. And then, of course, you're a church. So if somebody wants to do Embrace Grace and start it here, you
Okay.
just reach out to embracegrace.com, because that's the company that does it. It has a great, what to do. And they'll go, oh, there's Mary's house again. They got another church. So I just go, let's just convert the whole city. We've
Yeah.
had, so anyway, so that's something if somebody's interested in that. And if they want to go visit and Embrace Grace and go to the baby shower, that's so inspiring,
Okay.
because you just can't, what the girls say is, it's one thing to drop off presents for me, but when complete strangers show up at a baby shower for me, that's just more than I can imagine that they would
Mm.
care about me. So
Hmm.
that's a way. So come to the Fet, do Embrace Grace or volunteer, and always donate. Being a monthly donor, that would help us to just keep our bridge going.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely don't want this to just be a pilot program. We want it to be
Right.
the foundation for something bigger in the future.
Yes.
Well, Lynn, I've enjoyed it.
So have I.
And we will see y'all next time.